Hello everybody, welcome back to Dominions 5. This is turn 1 of the tournament finals. We are playing as MA Ulm. So I talked about the nation itself and a bit of the tournament format. So as a reminder, we have 9 players in this game. Pythium, ourselves as Ulm, we have Satis, Vanheim, Jotunheim, Vanarus, Bandarlog, Ind, Naba, Atlantis, and Ys. We are playing with the Omniscience mod, which allows Lucid to cast the game, so he basically gets spies in all the provinces, so he can kind of see what's going on. So that is, and we're gonna try to send him messages every turn or every few turns just to let him know. So obviously, you've probably heard of this game already from Lucid's channel, and I hope you watch the cast from his point of view, but you'll get at least a second point of view in the game, which will be mine. Okay, Ulm expansion. Like I hinted at in the build, you can expand with pretty much everything. Actually, before we get into that, just look at the map. So we voted on the map. There were 3 choices. This is made with MapNuke. MapNuke makes pretty nice and balanced maps. Now it's a little harder to fit 9 players on the map. Doesn't quite make it sort of as rectilinear as it usually is, but we have a decent start, except the fact that we started on highlands, which means we have reduced movement going out. Now, honestly, all our troops move pretty slowly, so it doesn't really matter, but would have been better to start on a plains. However, we have 2 forests in our cap circle, so we have decent resources for the early game. We've got a few thrones not too far away from our cap. It looks like there's some well, this is a large province, but it's got mountains, so it's not so great. But here, there's a large province here, which might have a lot of gold. We've got some farmlands here. So not bad. Now, unfortunately, we do neighbor the 2 water provinces the 2 water nations are going to be somewhere here. We do border the water directly, so that could be an issue because Ulm really has no way to go underwater. So our starting army is like a dozen or so heavy infantry, the cheap version with 19 protection. You should just recruit 5 more heavy infantry and then just start expanding with that. Profitize your commander. We're going to use the spy to go figure out what throne is what. Yeah, my plan this game is to expand with the Black Knights. Typically, when I've played Ulm in the past, I've mostly expanded with the heavy infantry, and I just feel like doing something different. There are pros and cons to this. The Black Knights are really expensive. You realistically only need like 2 or 3 to take most provinces. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to try... There's a strategy you can do with Ulm, which is to use a few Black Lords and give them like 2 units, 2 items. So if you take a Black Lord and if you forge in Construction 2, we actually don't, well, I can't show it to you now, but if you forge like a basic 5 earth gem sword, which of course only costs you 1 earth gem, and you replace the Morning Star. See, the Morning Star has -2 to defense. And you could get, I mean, it does have +2 to shield, but that's not super relevant. You can get a weapon that has 2 defense instead of -2 and 2 attack. So his defense score will go from 13 to 17. It'll be a better weapon, so it'll do more damage. And you can also craft a bracer of protection, which will increase his protection to 25. And give him an additional 2 defense. So he'll be at 19 defense, 25 protection. For 2 gems, that is an insanely cheap thug. And a couple of those with a few like cavalry on guard commander, that could be really interesting, a really interesting raiding tool in a first war. So that's something that I'd like to play around with and try to get. In terms of our recruitment strategy, in terms of mages, I actually like to recruit the regular mages, not the cap-only mage priests, for a few turns. The idea is we're going to go for construction 2 right away, and we're going to hope to get an air random. And we'll site search a bit with an air random, try to get an air site, and then make alquils for days to really bootstrap our research. Anyways, that's sort of turn 1. We're going to go through a bunch of turns here. So let's go to turn 2. Okay. Good luck and have fun. And remember, the real winner of the game is the player that Dom kills Lucid's Monolith Nation. Okay, so Pythium, hymns at Heaven's Gate, the Centurion, shall be known as the Prophet of Lalar, the break of day arising. Jim from Human Resources, the Commander of Ulm, shall be known as the Prophet Assistant Branch Manager Mike. Insert funny name here. The Commander of Satis will be the Prophet of Inductor the Destructor. Epstein didn't kill himself. The hearse shall hereby be known as the Prophet of Njorth, the Middle Age. Eitri the Jotun Scout. Unshakable. Oh, Singlestone will be the Prophet of Singlestone. Bunbury, the Vanusian hearse, will be the Prophet of Ernest. Anirbana, the Bandar Commander, will be the Prophet of Witness of the Coin. Obi the Shinobi, the Adai General, will be known as the Prophet of Priscilla. And Arnhem Choa, the Shambler Chief, will be the Prophet of Faykiller. Okay, so now we see what we have around us. I would have liked to go down here, maybe, into these rich lands, but unfortunately we got a big problems with heavy cav. So we're just going to go with something easy here. Wolf Tribe and Wolf Archers. We are just doing Sermon of Courage, and then Heavenly Strikes. And I've got everybody in a line in front, and just go and charge in. And we're starting to make our heavy cav for a second expansion group. Let's go ahead on to turn 3. Okay, here's our battle. We actually lost a dude, which is unfortunate. Yeah, if we look here, not commanders, but if you look at the infantry of Ulm, 12, 12, 12, 12, 12, one of them is at 3. One of them is at 1. So we actually got a few unlucky rolls. But you can see almost all of my guys have taken 0 damage. Yeah. Okay, we're going to keep going north. This is a large province up here, and it is also sort of only lightly guarded. Crossbowmen might be scary, you would think, but we have enough hit points to actually take a couple crossbow shots to the face. And because it's only light infantry in front, these are going to evaporate, and then we should be able to charge right into the crossbows. Here we have 2 cav. I could expand with the 2, but I'm going to wait and grab a full squad of 3. And we are, of course, going right for construction. Notice that we're getting a ton of resources because we just have a lot of resources in the capital anyways, but also each one of these is giving us 30 extra resources. So that was turn 3. Let's go to turn 4. Okay, a battle here. We lost 3 guys. Looks like it was a mix of kills from different types of troops. Oh, we've got one guy down here who's limp, unfortunately. So the heavy infantry just kind of dies. Oh, it's a javelins, I guess. Yeah, a bit of an awkward engagement. Some unfortunate guys here who got some afflictions and got kind of stuck in the back, and we didn't have great contact. I could have split this into 2 groups. Probably would have been a little bit better if we had just made 2 groups with 2 lines, spread out a little bit more. Would have made sure that we had fewer guys just doing nothing in the back. So we're taking, honestly, a bit more attrition than I normally like to take as Ulm, but that's okay. So we got this province. So far we got a 7,000 pop province. We got a 9,000 pop province. And this one has a lava lake, which is giving us fire and water gems. Very nice. So we're going to go into this forest because it's militia and archers, and it's just very easy. Looks like we have some dominion here. Oh, and we have detected that Pythium is to our west. We're going to send out some heavy cav down here. And so far, no randoms of any kind whatsoever, which is unfortunate. That was turn 4. Well, let's go to turn 5. All right, the knights destroy everything. The infantry destroys everything. I guess I'll show you the knights in action. They have 23 protection, and these guys hit for 12 piercing. So unless they get like unbelievably lucky, there's like very little chance they do any damage. In fact, let's look at the end of this fight, just as they're about to rout. All right. The Black Knights, okay, one of them took 1 point of damage. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. Now I'm trying to clear a bit more of my cap circle to get a bit more production for my horses. We did get a random, but it's a fire random. And the reason I'm expanding with him now is because I'm going to start using him to site search right away. So this kind of efficiently moves him out. And also, like it moves him out of the cap, reinforces this army. Because there's still a lot of indies here, and can get him site searching right away. Now here we have met Jotunheim, and so this army could either go up here or down here, but I can see that Jotunheim is over here. So this means that this is in his cap circle, so I don't want to like provoke him and go onto his cap circle right away. Plus, I can see here that, well, right, yeah, so I don't want to bump him, but also, like, there's no reason to go into his cap circle. So unfortunately, we have to backtrack, but that's life. Now here, we had some crossbowmen, so I've been recruiting some indie crossbowmen. So when we get back here, we're going to have like a dozen or so extra crossbows in our army, which is nice. This here also has an arena, which gives us an extra 25 gold, so good for us. That was turn 5. Let's keep going. Turn 6, disaster. So what happened here? We have our mages at the back, and we have 2 groups of cavalry, but you can see that what I've done is, the cavalry, by the way, is murdering everything, but I had both of them in front, and there were so many indies. This is a bad script on my part. If we look at it again, this was actually 2 groups of cavalry, and my thinking was, when I hastily scripted this, is, well, I don't want them to get completely surrounded, or they will get completely surrounded. I don't want to have them separate, because what if I have only 3 cavalry and then they get completely surrounded by a blob? This is not a good way to think about this, because these guys can't even hurt the cavalry anyways. And what happens is this: what if you have a big blob here and a big blob here? This blob might go to attack one, and then the other one's just going to run right to the back and kill your mages. Now in this case, what happens is it's actually the commanders that do that. See these 2 barbarian commanders? They just run right to the back and kill my guys here. So this was a very bad, this is a mistake on my part. I should have just had like 1 cavalry group here, 1 cavalry group here, hold an attack closest, and none of this would have happened. Now, you know, I still do lose 2 cavalry, but that would have been an acceptable trade if I just lost 2 cavalry and, you know, wiped out province with this many dudes in it. So that's really too bad. Now, fortunately, I've got 6 more heavy cav, so now we're going to claim it for sure. But I've got some stragglers here. I've got 2 heavy cav here, 2 heavy cav here. Like, this is another army that could be expanding right now, and I'm just not using it. So in terms of logistics, this is really slowing down my expansion. It's really unfortunate. We have met more neighbors. We've got Van Arus, who's somewhere up here, and we have Vanheim, who's somewhere down here. And we have identified this throne as the Throne of Fire. The Bless bonus is not super relevant for us, but getting Fire 3 mages would be nice. I do not have higher Fire on my Pretender, so that would be really good in terms of magic diversity. Anyways, a pretty bad turn 6. So let's go on to turn 7. Messenger from Van Roos. Greetings from Van Roos. Greetings to both the nation of Ulm and the viewers watching it. I plan to stop expanding this direction now that I have the forest, at least for the time being. Good luck with the remainder of your expansion and have fun with the game. Let me know if you're interested in trading some gems. I have an assortment available for trade, and I wouldn't mind getting my hands on some early earth gems. You probably already know, but you will border Pythium to the west. I'm not real sure what his plans are for the rainbow are, but I suppose we'll find out soon enough. So we now know that Pythium has a rainbow pretender, which is not surprising. It's Pythium. Okay, we wipe out the leaders that killed our group last time. This is our infantry with the crossbows, which is just continuing to steamroll indies, like you do. I forget what I have the crossbows on, like what they're firing. They're crossbows. It's not really necessary to have them fire archers. That's usually a pretty bad trade-off. The archers are pretty inoffensive. Yeah. Oh, and I bought mercs. Yeah, I think I'm just trying to catch up here in terms of expansion. So, unfortunately, as you can see this turn, so here I have my heavy cav. And I wanted to keep expanding here or here. But unfortunately, this is a heavy cav province. And, my heavy cav is better than this heavy cav. But if I'm fighting both heavy cav and a lot of militia, I'd feel more comfortable if I had like 10. Because if I am fighting against 8 of their heavy cav plus militia and light cav, I'm going to lose. But 10 of my heavy cav would probably be enough to take this on. Remember, I still have 2 heavy cav here that I'm unable to pick up. Furthermore, up here, I have also kind of run out of room because I had expanded here last turn, but I knew that Van Roos had this, and after this I only have the Throne Province here, which I can't comfortably take. And this is Jotunheim's cap circle. So I knew this was kind of a dead-end move, but I didn't have a choice. I had to take it because I don't want Jotunheim to take this province. But I know that after this I have to walk back, and, what do I do after that? So that's a just really uncomfortable expansion path. So I've gone north and west first, but I've really kind of been bottlenecked, and I'm wasting a lot of turns backtracking, which is really unfortunate. Here, this army of heavy cav is just moving here, and this is not really giving me anything. Now, the turn after, I'll be well set up to attack multiple provinces. Here, what we're doing is we've got a small group of 4 heavy cav, but we've got these terrible mercs, and together there should be more than enough to take on, because this is a small number of militia and heavy cav. Militia are going to just evaporate, so I'll probably HP route before I have to deal with the heavy cav. This army wanted to go down here, but Pythium has kind of pushed ahead and blocked me off here. So good expansion path here by Pythium. I'd like to point out that we still have no air randoms, no astral randoms. We do, however, have an Earth 3 random. That is kind of nice because it means I do not have to go to Construction 4 to make a hammer. In other words, Construction 4 to make the boots with Earth 2 and then make a hammer with Earth 3. At Construction 2, I can simply make the hammer with this guy. So that is a nice thing. We're going to get Conjuration 3 so we can do Summon Earth Power, and then we're going to get Construction 3 so we can do Legions of Steel, which is a fantastic spell for MA Ulm in the early game. Okay, let's move on. That was turn 7. turn 8. Okay, we had a battle here. This is us fighting the Heavy Cav province with the 4 Black Knights and the bad mercenaries. And what we can see has happened is I have these guys out here to eat the cavalry charge, which they do. They unfortunately just all die. And although we cause their heavy cav to rout, like basically, and all their infantry to rout, our own troops rout because we HP rout because of these guys all dying, and these guys only being in a squad of 4. So we kind of win the battle, except we got an HP rout because these mercs are just so bad. So we're continuing to struggle here. We're having some bad luck, but a lot of the bad luck also has to do with the geography here. We're kind of getting screwed by these paths and all these mountains. So, that's pretty unfortunate. So I've picked up the extra crossbows. We're going to move south and pick up these 2 heavy cav. And after that, I'm going to go and clear these 2 heavy cav provinces. I'm not rushing to take them because this is blocked off. This will be mine anytime I want to take it, unless the Water Nation here gets really ballsy. Jotunheim is not going to take it. He'd have to clear this throne, and this throne is full of like springhawks and stuff. This is a really nasty throne. Similarly here, like this is heavy cav. Nobody's going to take this with like pikeneers. And Van Rose said he was then expanding this way. So there's no pressure for me to take these heavy cav provinces. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to take this province, which is a bunch of horse tribe that will fall easily to my heavy cav. I've picked up the 2 stragglers here, and we've got a renewed expansion party coming out this way. So finally, we're kind of stabilizing in our expansion. We just kind of got screwed over by some geography up here and a couple scripting mistakes that really put us down. We could have had an entire second, or by now 3rd army expanding even more down here. We've identified that Vanheim is in fact down here. And let's keep going. That was turn 8. Turn 9. I believe I traded some gems with East. I think we traded Earth for Air or something like that. Which is great for me because that means that if I get one day an air random, I can start making owl quills right away without having to go site search. So that's a really good trade for me. We kill the horse tribe, unsurprisingly. We kill, these are the we already wiped out most of this indie province before. Unexpected events, turmoil, income, whatever. Okay. We are going to go ahead and clear out this heavy cavalry province with this squad. So it's heavy cav, but we have pretty overwhelming numbers. I'm not too afraid. Plus we have the prophet. Prophets with their smite are excellent at dealing with heavy cav. So that's what we're going to do. We've got another squad heading out here just to finish up getting our cap circle. This province is really nice, 1,400 gold. Definitely looking forward to building a fort here. Now, here we're in a bit of a weird situation. I could take on these long dead horsemen, no problem, with this army here. But there's a couple problems with that. First of all, this is getting far away from my capital, and whatever player is here we might very well bump here. And this is a pretty solid army, but you never know like what they might bump you with, and they might have a weird script or something. The other problem is that this army with 9 heavy cav is it's rough because 9 heavy cav into 40 provinces of mostly heavy cav. This could be 20 indie heavy cav, right? In fact, it could be even worse, right? It could be more than 20 theoretically. What are the other options? Going north here? Well, that's a waste because this army's got it taken care of. The other option is these barbarians, but here we have 50 barbarians. Barbarians can do chip damage to these guys, and so I don't feel comfortable just sending 9 heavy cav. I would win the fight, but I would lose like a couple of cavalry, and there's no reason to suffer attrition. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to combine the forces here to totally obliterate the barbarians, and then we'll kind of take it from there. We'll have a better idea of what's going on down here. We might wrap around and do the heavy cav next turn, because this is a very nice province as well. I don't know what's going on underwater, but this might also be a target for whoever's expanding down here. So that is what is going on there. Still no air randoms, still no astral randoms. We got one fire random early on, which we lost due to a mistake, and then we got one earth random. So we are not getting lucky with our mage randoms. And let's load up the last turn for this episode. I'm going to go all the way to turn 10. Okay. This is the fight with our prophet versus the heavy cav. We've got our heavy infantry that's just eating the heavy cav charge like the manly men that these Ulm fighters are. We took a few losses, but they stood their ground quite well. And then we just evaporated the light infantry and all the indies routed. So we lost 5 in total, but there was a charge of some heavy cav, and they did all the heavy lifting basically. So we took some casualties, but we expected to take some. In Ashlands, this is against the barbarians. Oops, sorry for that was a weird click. Again, this is poor scripting on my part. I should have had these two blobs slightly separated, because when you get to 50 indies, they tend to be in two big blobs, and it's very easy for them to loop around. And despite our numbers, we lost 3 Black Knights. So if we had attacked this with only 9 Black Knights, that could have been, it could have been a loss if we had been unlucky. Down here, that was just us clearing the rest of our cap circle. We found a magic site here. I think it's the iron mine that produces 40 more resources. Kind of useless, but okay, we got it. Okay. What is going to be our next move? We are going to reinforce here this army with a few more heavy cav, and afterwards we're going to move west and try to claim this last Indie province. Over here we built a commander, and we're just going to ping this throne. This throne seems like it could be really easy to take, so we're just going to make sure there aren't any crazy hard mages, and we'll go and take it. This army can actually move to this turn, and so it's going to go all the way down here. We've already recruited a Indie commander here who's starting our palisades, because this is a very nice province. And what we've done here is we are going to move our whole army of cavalry down here. This will be an easy win, but it'll set us up to bump against whatever happens here. It looks like Ind is our neighbor down here. But, he might have these provinces here, so we don't know. And then over here, we're going to have these 5 heavy cav coming in. And from that point, first of all, one of these mages can come build a lab and just start researching. Then these 5 can probably take on the Ichthyids. Maybe we combine with here and do some barbarians. We'll have options. We'll have flexibility. So how's our expansion going after 10 turns? Not great. Some of it was sort of inevitable due to geography. Like, we were very inefficient to the north and west, but given the geography, it was pretty much as good as it could have been. When we were here, we chose to go east to box this out from Jotunheim instead of going west. So we could have gotten this forest, and maybe that would have secured us a bit more land here. But Jotunheim would then have gotten this forest, and perhaps even this province here. And perhaps this province here. So I'm okay with this border here that I have with Jotunheim. This is sort of unfortunate. It's a little awkward, but, it happens. And although we're slow at grabbing these extra provinces just because of the logistics, and we're forced to backtrack, we have no pressure, no time pressure to take them. They're basically guaranteed to be ours. Now down here, it took us a while to get going, but we still have a lot of unclaimed land that we can go get. This is a nice little chunk of land that we can still expand into, and there's some really nice high quality provinces, including these two. So we were a little bit slow to get going, but I think we're going to end up okay. I think, after we get to 12 turns, we'll have like a net sort of okay amount of provinces after our expansion. Now, who are we thinking of for our first war? Well, our border with Van Roos is going to be really awkward and narrow because this throne province here does not connect to the northwest. It only loops back into Jotunheim and then down south here. So the border here everything would funnel through this province, and with the temperature barrier here, it would be a whole funnel of just into one province, wherever Van Roos is. So this is not a good path. Ind, somewhere down here, is an option, but it would be really far from our capital. So then it's between Jotunheim and Pythium, and my thinking... All right, I had to step away for a short while, but let's continue the discussion, I think, of the different matchups in the next episode as I consider sort of which opponents I might want to go for first. So we're going to wrap this episode up right now. It's been about half an hour anyways, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.